What's going on, Sunbelt fans? December 31st. Happy New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's. Hopefully you're enjoying some time with some friends and family. We will get into today's games. I know there's a lot of bowl games, a lot of important bowl games with the college football semifinals on and everything. So I don't know how many eyes are going to be on Sunbelt basketball today, but we're going to go over it anyways. Last time out, my predictions didn't go so hot, so we're going to try and improve this time around. 2 p.m. tip-off, Louisiana at ODU. No streaming or TV for this one, it seems. ODU, a 2-point favorite. Louisiana lost a 1-point game at Coastal to put them on a 2-game slide going into this one. ODU lost a close one versus Arkansas State, but they keep all their games very close. So I don't expect this one to get out of hand, but I do think Louisiana's coming in, trying to prove a point, trying to get back on that winning way. I am going to favor them in this one, even though it's at ODU. I'm going to take Louisiana 78-73. Another 2 p.m. tip, this one on ESPN Plus, and my game of the day, it's got JMU traveling to Marshall. Both two of the better teams in the conference as it sits right now. JMU rebounded nicely from that Coppin State loss with a very comfortable win over Georgia State down there on the road. Marshall, meanwhile, is on a 3-game streak, and just last game, obviously, took care of App State rather easily. Just a note here, since they've both played Coppin State, that Marshall disposed of Coppin State 86-67. Now, we know that doesn't just mean a whole lot in the end, but just something to note because there is a common opponent already before conference play has started. Also, with Marshall being at home, I think they've got that crowd on their side. They seem to be really into it for basketball this season especially. So I'm going to favor Marshall in this one, 82-71. I just don't know if I can quite trust that JMU team just yet. So we'll see what they're made of today when they play a good, solid Marshall team. They've got Kinsey, Taylor, and Han Logden. I trust those three better than I trust the guys on the other side for JMU in that one. Another 2 p.m. tip, South Alabama travels on the road to Georgia State. This one on ESPN Plus as well. This one is considered even as far as the odds makers are concerned. Both of them had small win streaks before losses in their opening conference games, but South Alabama scores more points and also allows more points than Georgia State. So in this one, even, I had it pretty even too. Once I looked at it, I saw why the odds makers are keeping this one at that even mark. I'm favoring Georgia State simply because they are at home. I think these are two pretty evenly matched teams, but I will take Georgia State at home to get back into the win column for the conference, 68-59. Another 2 p.m. tip, the last of the 2 p.m. tips, ESPN Plus, Georgia Southern travels on the road to face Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina favored by 4 points in this one. Both opened conference play with wins at home. That means Georgia Southern obviously is going to be on the road once they go to Coastal in this one. I think Coastal had a little bit stronger of an opponent. It was a close game, but they did beat somebody who was a little bit better than Georgia Southern playing South Alabama. At this point, I'm going to favor Coastal a little more heavily in this game. I'm going to favor them 81-71. 3 p.m. tip, ESPN Plus, we've got App State traveling down to Southern Miss. Southern Miss favored by 6.5 points in this one. And it's easy to see why App State hasn't had a Division I win in their last 7 games. Stop, please. And I don't see that changing today either. USM had a hard-fought win over a pretty solid Troy team. I don't think App State at this point may be similar to Troy, but I feel I would favor Troy in that matchup, so I'm going to favor USM in this matchup. Pretty soundly, yet again. I don't think that travel down there is going to be easy for App State. They're not really in a streak that they're going to be proud or favored in any way. So I'm going to take Southern Miss 73-61. 3 p.m. tip, again, ESPN Plus. We've got ULM traveling on the road to Arkansas State. Arkansas State favored by 5.5 points. ULM did start conference play with a win, but it was over a struggling Texas State team. I don't think Arkansas State's going to be as down as Texas State because they are on a 4-game win streak, a very solid win over an ODU team on the road to start conference play. I think Arkansas State honestly wins this one rather easily today. I'm favoring pretty heavily, 82-65. round out the conference play for the day before everyone gets to go off and party and have a good time before New Year's. 5 p.m. tip, ESPN Plus. We've got Troy traveling down to Texas State. Troy favored by only 1 point. The overall records are very close. Troy sits at 8-6, Texas State at 7-7. But to me, that's where the similarities end. If you watch both of these teams play, to me, it's pretty easy to see that Troy is the better team. They've got the win over Florida State. Meanwhile, Texas State, on the other hand, has lost to a Division III non-scholarship team. And then when they have won over some of these other opponents, it hasn't been all that much of a point differential. Nothing that's really, really impressive. They have a good player in Mason Harrell. They don't seem to be gelling as a team. I think they've got some other solid players, but they haven't put it all together yet. I think Troy is closer to that aspect. I know they got off on the wrong foot with the loss, but again, they played a good team in Southern Miss when they lost that one. So I'm going to favor Troy in this one a little more heavily as well, 85-68. That'll wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching. Have fun. Be safe. Enjoy the holidays. And we'll catch you on the next preview.